the last line of defense. Commander Kira Patel stood at the viewport of Lunar Base Arcturus, watching Earth's defense fleet burn. The alien armada had appeared 3 days ago, materializing from the depths of space without warning. Their ships, massive crystalline structures that resembled abstract sculptures more than vessels of war, had torn through humanity's outer defenses like paper. 17 hours ago, Mars' colony fell silent. 8 hours ago, the Jupiter defense line collapsed. Now, as Kira watched the last remnants of Earth's primary fleet disappear in silent flashes of light, she knew she was witnessing the end of everything humanity had built over centuries of space exploration. Behind her, Admiral Santos cleared his throat. "The Avalon is ready, Commander." Kira didn't turn around. Her reflection in the reinforced glass showed a woman in her late 30s, dark skin marked by the characteristic pallor of someone who'd spent too much time in space. Her black hair was pulled back in a tight braid, and her eyes held the haunted look of someone who'd seen too much death in too short a time. "The test runs weren't complete," she said quietly. "Nothing about this situation is complete, Commander." Santos moved to stand beside her. "The Avalon is the only ship we have that might stand a chance. Its quantum drive system is experimental at best, catastrophic at worst." Kira finally turned to face him. "We don't fully understand how the probability matrices interact with real space physics. One miscalculation could tear a hole in space-time." Santos smiled grimly. "Better that than what's coming. You've seen the reports from Mars." Kira had. The aliens hadn't simply defeated the Mars colony, they'd erased it, leaving nothing but a perfectly smooth crater where humanity's first extraterrestrial city had stood. No radiation, no debris, just absence. The Avalon waited in its quantum dock, a ship unlike anything humanity had ever built. Its hull was a latticework of crystalline filaments that seemed to shift and change even when perfectly still, an effect of the quantum uncertainty fields that permeated its structure. The ship wasn't just equipped with a quantum drive. It was quantum technology, capable of existing in multiple states simultaneously. As Kira walked through the airlock connecting to her ship, she felt the familiar tingle of the quantum interface activating. The neural implant at the base of her skull warmed slightly as it synchronized with the ship's systems. Unlike conventional vessels, the Avalon didn't have a bridge or control stations. The entire ship was the interface, and Kira was its heart. "Final systems check," she announced, her voice echoing through the quantum crystalline structure. Displays materialized around her, projected directly onto her retinas by the neural interface. The ship's quantum core pulsed with energy, its probability fields extending through the hull like invisible fingers. "Commander," Santos's voice came through the quantum comm, "the alien fleet will reach Luna's orbit in approximately 40 minutes. Whatever you're planning." "I know." Kira closed her eyes, feeling the ship's systems integrate more deeply with her consciousness. "Tell Earth's remaining forces to fall back. All of them. All of them? But that would leave nothing between Earth and the alien fleet except me and the Avalon." "That's the point, Admiral." There was a long pause. "The quantum drive was designed for exploration, Kira, not combat." A smile tugged at the corner of her mouth. "Then we'll have to get creative, won't we? Quantum physics is all about possibilities. Time to see which ones we can make real." The Avalon's quantum core hummed to life, its crystalline structure resonating with energies that existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously. As Kira initiated launch sequences, she felt the familiar sensation of her consciousness expanding, merging with the ship's quantum-enhanced awareness. In this state, she could perceive probability itself, see the countless paths any action might take, calculate the quantum trajectories that could turn impossibility into reality. "Admiral," she said, as the Avalon's dock began to open, "if this works, it will rewrite everything we know about space combat. If it doesn't..." She paused. "Make sure they remember that we tried." The Avalon rose from its berth, its crystalline structure catching Luna's harsh light and splitting it into impossible colors. Ahead, the alien fleet approached, a wall of geometric perfection that had already proven itself capable of ending worlds. Kira took a deep breath, feeling the quantum possibilities swirling around her like invisible currents. Time to show them what one human and a quantum ship can do. The Avalon's core pulsed once, and then the ship vanished into a sea of probabilities, leaving behind nothing but a shimmer in space where certainty ended and quantum uncertainty began. The last line of defense was about to become the first wave of attack. Quantum dance. The alien Armada's forward sensors detected nothing as the Avalon emerged from its quantum state mere kilometers from their front line. To them, the human vessel seemed to materialize from nothing, its crystalline structure briefly mirroring their own ships before shifting into new configurations that defied physical laws. Kira felt the alien fleet's reaction through the Avalon's quantum sensors, a ripple of surprise that manifested as fluctuations in their shield harmonics. "Let's give them something to think about," she whispered, more to herself than to the ship's quantum consciousness. The Avalon responded instantaneously, its probability field expanding to encompass a sphere of space roughly 10 kilometers in diameter. The first alien shots passed through empty space where the Avalon had been microseconds before. Kira hadn't moved the ship, not in any conventional sense. Instead, she'd shifted its quantum state, allowing it to exist in a superposition of locations within its probability field. To the alien targeting systems, the Avalon was everywhere and nowhere, a ghost that refused to conform to their understanding of reality. "Interesting," Kira muttered, analyzing the attack pattern. "They're using concentrated tachyon beams. Very precise, very deadly. If they could hit us." She pushed deeper into the quantum interface, feeling the boundaries between her consciousness and the ship's quantum systems blur further. In this state, she could see the mathematical beauty of the alien formation, the perfect geometric patterns of their attack vectors. The Avalon's quantum core pulsed with energy as Kira executed her first offensive maneuver. The ship split into 12 quantum echoes, each one as real as the original from the perspective of space-time, yet all connected through the underlying quantum field. The alien fleet's response was immediate and devastating, a barrage of weapons fire that would have destroyed a small planet. But Kira had already calculated their response. Each quantum echo of the Avalon shifted phase slightly, existing between moments of time where the alien weapons fire passed harmlessly through space they might have occupied. "You can't hit what doesn't exist when your weapons arrive," she broadcast on all frequencies, her voice carried by tachyon pulses that matched the alien's own communication systems. The alien fleet's formation began to shift, adapting to this impossible opponent. Their ships moved with perfect coordination, creating overlapping fields of fire that should have trapped the Avalon in a web of destructive energy. Instead, Kira used their own precision against them. "The thing about quantum uncertainty," she continued broadcasting, even as she wove the Avalon through gaps in space-time that existed for nanoseconds, "is that the act of observation affects the outcome. Right now, you're trying to observe us from 12 different vectors. But what if we're not in any of them?" The Avalon's quantum echoes collapsed into a single point of impossible probability, then expanded again, this time creating a sphere of quantum uncertainty that encompassed several of the alien vessels. Inside this field, probability itself became fluid. Alien targeting systems found themselves tracking phantom signals, their perfect formation disrupted by the introduction of quantum chaos into their carefully calculated plans. 3 alien ships collided, their own precision working against them as quantum uncertainty made their positions relative to each other temporarily undefined. They hadn't been destroyed, their technology was far too advanced for that. But they had been forced to withdraw from the battle formation, their geometric perfection disrupted. "First blood," Kira murmured, but her satisfaction was short-lived. The alien fleet was adapting, their ships beginning to emit fields that damped quantum fluctuations. They were learning, evolving their tactics to counter this new threat. She hadn't expected anything less. The neural interface flashed warnings across her consciousness as the alien dampening fields began to restrict the Avalon's quantum maneuverability. The ship's core temperature was rising as it fought to maintain its quantum state against the increasing pressure of forced wave function collapse. Time for Phase 2, Kira decided, initiating a sequence she'd hoped she wouldn't need to use so soon. The Avalon's crystalline structure began to resonate at frequencies that matched the alien ship's own hull harmonics. If she couldn't defeat their technology, perhaps she could speak to it in its own language. The quantum core's energy readings spiked dangerously as Kira pushed the ship systems beyond their tested limits. In response, the alien fleet's formation shifted again, but this time something was different. Their movements seemed less certain, as if they were responding to multiple conflicting commands. "Admiral Santos," Kira called through the quantum comm, her voice strained with the effort of maintaining the complex quantum states. "Are you seeing this?" "Confirmed, Commander," Santos replied. "Their formation is showing signs of instability. Whatever you're doing, it's working." But Kira wasn't so sure. The alien ship's behavior was too erratic, too chaotic for their demonstrated level of technology. Either they were executing a strategy she couldn't comprehend, or the realization hit her just as the Avalon's quantum sensors detected a massive energy surge building within the alien fleet. "They're not destabilizing," she transmitted urgently to Lunar Base. "They're reconfiguring. All ships, maximum distance now." The alien fleet's perfect formation collapsed entirely, but instead of chaos, their ships began to move with new purpose, flowing together like liquid metal. They were combining, transforming into something that made Kira's quantum calculations scream with impossibility. As she pulled the Avalon back to a safe observation distance, Kira watched the alien fleet complete its transformation. Where hundreds of individual ships had been, now floated a single massive structure, a geometric shape that seemed to fold through dimensions that shouldn't exist in normal space. "Well," Kira said to the quantum void, "that's new. The price of tomorrow." The neural interface burned at the base of Kira's skull as she fought to maintain the Avalon's quantum state. Before her, the transformed alien fleet hung in space like a mathematical impossibility, a structure that simultaneously existed in multiple dimensions while somehow maintaining coherence in normal space-time. "Status report," Admiral Santos's voice crackled through the quantum comm, distorted by interference from the alien megastructure. "Still alive," Kira managed through gritted teeth, "though I'm not sure how much longer that's going to matter." The Avalon's quantum core was running hot, its crystalline structure vibrating at frequencies that threatened to shatter reality itself. "They've created something impossible, Admiral. A quantum singularity matrix that's somehow stable." The alien structure began to pulse with energy that defied the Avalon's sensors. Each pulse sent waves of quantum distortion rippling through space, forcing Kira to constantly recalculate the ship's probability fields to prevent collapse. The neural interface was feeding so much data into her brain that colors had started bleeding into sounds, and sounds into mathematical equations. "The quantum drive wasn't designed for this kind of sustained operation," she reported, tasting copper in her mouth. "We're burning through containment protocols faster than the system can generate new ones." "Pull back," Santos ordered. "We need to regroup, think of another approach." But Kira's quantum-enhanced senses had already detected something that made retreat impossible. "They're not just showing off, Admiral. That structure, it's a weapon. They're building up to something big. If we don't stop them now..." She left the sentence unfinished as another wave of quantum distortion washed over the Avalon. This time, Kira saw something in the pattern of the pulses. Not random chaos, but a language written in probability itself. The aliens weren't just attacking, they were trying to communicate. Through the haze of neural overload, Kira made a decision that went against every protocol and safety measure ever written for the Avalon. Going dark, she transmitted to Lunar Base. "If I'm not back in 20 minutes, assume the worst. Commander Patel, don't you dare dash." She cut off the transmission and redirected all power to the quantum core. The Avalon's crystalline structure began to sing with energies that existed between possibilities, its form becoming less solid and more conceptual. Kira felt her consciousness expanding, merging more deeply with the ship's quantum systems than ever before. The alien structure's pulses changed frequency, responding to the Avalon's transformation. In this heightened state of awareness, Kira finally understood what she was seeing. The aliens hadn't combined their ships into a weapon. They'd created a quantum computer of unprecedented scale, trying to solve an equation that encompassed the fate of multiple civilizations. Images flooded her mind. Worlds dying, stars going dark, entropy accelerating beyond all natural laws. The aliens weren't invaders, they were refugees, fleeing from a universe that was ending far ahead of schedule. Their attacks on human outposts hadn't been acts of aggression, but desperate attempts to harvest energy and resources for their calculations. The price of this understanding was almost too high to bear. Blood trickled from Kira's nose as the neural interface struggled to process the vast amounts of quantum data flowing through it. The boundary between her consciousness and the Avalon's quantum systems had become dangerously thin. "We need to show them," she whispered to the ship, no longer certain whether she was speaking with words or pure mathematics. The Avalon responded, its quantum field synchronizing with the alien structure's own frequencies. Through this connection, Kira began to transmit the one thing the aliens hadn't considered in their calculations: hope. She showed them Earth's history, not just humanity's achievements, but their failures and recoveries. The countless times civilization had faced extinction and found a way forward. The mathematical beauty of human resilience, expressed in quantum possibilities. The alien structure's pulses changed again, its pattern shifting from calculation to conversation. Through the quantum link, Kira felt their surprise, their relief at finally being understood. But she also felt their fear. The universe's accelerating entropy couldn't be stopped, their calculations proved it. "Maybe it can't be stopped," Kira projected through the quantum field, "but it can be survived. Not by running, not by fighting, but by working together." The neural interface was on fire now, her vision filled with quantum probability curves that twisted like living things. She was dimly aware that she was dying. The human brain wasn't meant to process this much quantum data. But before the darkness took her, she had to make them understand. With the last of her strength, Kira initiated a quantum sequence she'd conceived the moment she understood the alien's true nature. The Avalon's crystalline structure began to resonate at exactly the frequency of universal entropy itself, creating a localized bubble of altered probability. "Look," she commanded through the quantum field. "Look at what we can do together." The alien structure's pulses stopped as its vast quantum intelligence processed what the Avalon was showing them: a way to create pockets of stable spacetime within the dying universe. Not a solution to entropy itself, but a path to survival that didn't require the destruction of other civilizations. As consciousness slipped away from her, Kira saw the alien structure beginning to change again. But this time, it wasn't becoming a weapon. It was becoming something new. Something that could only exist through the cooperation of two very different species who had both stared into the end of everything and refused to blink. The last thing she heard before the darkness took her was Admiral Santos's voice, cutting through the quantum static. "My God, Commander, what have you done?" Beyond the void between consciousness and oblivion was filled with quantum equations. Kira floated through mathematical landscapes where probability curves formed mountains and valleys of pure possibility. Her mind, freed from the constraints of her failing body, danced through dimensions that shouldn't exist. "Commander Patel," the voice came from everywhere and nowhere, speaking in frequencies that existed between moments of time. Kira recognized it as the collective consciousness of the alien structure, now attuned to human comprehension through the quantum link she'd established. "Am I dead?" she asked, watching her thoughts ripple through probability fields like stones dropped in a quantum pond. "Your physical form exists in a state of quantum uncertainty," the voice replied. "Neither alive nor dead, but suspended between possibilities. The neural interface has integrated your consciousness fully into the quantum field." Around her, the mathematical landscape shifted, resolving into a representation of the current situation that her human mind could comprehend. She saw the Avalon, its crystalline structure now perfectly synchronized with the alien quantum computer. Earth hung in the distance, a blue jewel suspended in the void, while lunar base Arcturus buzzed with frantic activity. "The entropy problem remains," the alien consciousness continued. "Your solution provides sanctuary, but not salvation. The universe continues to die." "But now we have time," Kira responded, understanding flowing through her quantum-enhanced awareness. "Time to find a permanent solution together." The alien consciousness rippled with what might have been agreement. "Your species' capacity for adaptation is unprecedented. We calculated 2,847,692 possible responses to our arrival. Military resistance was predicted. Surrender was predicted. Quantum communion was not. Kira would have smiled if she still had a physical form. Humans have a habit of finding options that don't show up in the calculations. The mathematical landscape shifted again, showing her the changes already taking place. The alien structure was reconfiguring itself, transforming from a weapon of desperation into something new. Its quantum architecture began to incorporate principles derived from the Avalon's design, creating a hybrid technology that neither species could have developed alone. But there was a price to be paid for this breakthrough. Kira felt it in the increasing instability of her quantum state. The neural interface that had allowed her consciousness to merge with the quantum field was breaking down. Soon, the connection would collapse, and with it, the bridge between human and alien understanding. There is a choice to be made, the alien consciousness informed her. Your physical form can be restored, but the quantum communion will be lost. The knowledge will remain, but the direct connection between our species will end. Or, Kira prompted, already sensing the alternative. Or your consciousness can be fully integrated into the quantum field. Your physical form will cease, but your mind will become part of the bridge between our species, existing in a state of permanent quantum communion. The implications were staggering. Immortality of a sort, but at the cost of her humanity. Yet the knowledge they could gain, the understanding they could achieve. How long? She asked. The universe has approximately 10 billion years before entropy reaches critical levels, even with our intervention. Perhaps enough time to find a permanent solution. Kira's quantum-enhanced consciousness expanded through the mathematical landscape, considering the possibilities. She thought of Earth, of Admiral Santos, and everyone waiting for her return. She thought of the future, not just humanity's, but the future of all conscious life in a dying universe. There's a third option, she said finally, the quantum equations dancing around her consciousness forming into a new pattern. The Avalon's quantum core can be modified to maintain a partial communion. Not as complete as this current state, but enough to serve as a translator between our species. I won't be fully human anymore, but I won't be fully quantum either. The alien consciousness processed this possibility, probability curves shifting as it calculated the implications. A hybrid state, unstable, dangerous, but possible. Story of my life, Kira mused. Or whatever this is about to become. The decision made, she felt the mathematical landscape begin to shift around her. The Avalon's quantum core pulsed with new energy as its crystalline structure reconfigured itself to accommodate her transformed consciousness. She would be neither fully human nor fully quantum, but something in between, a bridge between two species who had found each other at the end of everything and decided to face it together. As her awareness began to resettle into a form that straddled the boundary between physical and quantum existence, Kira sent one last thought to the alien consciousness. Next time you visit someone's solar system, try knocking first. The response came in a wave of quantum probabilities that could have been laughter. Above Earth, the alien structure began its final transformation, changing from a weapon into a beacon of cooperation. The universe was still dying, but now it faced something it hadn't calculated for, the combined ingenuity of two civilizations who had looked into the void and decided to build a door. Echo of infinity. Admiral Santos stood at the same viewport where, days earlier, he had watched Earth's defense fleet burn. Now he observed something that defied traditional military analysis. The former alien Armada, transformed into a vast research station that shimmered with quantum possibilities, orbiting Earth in perfect harmony with human satellites. The quantum integration is stable, reported Dr. Nakamura, head of Earth's hastily assembled Xenophysics division. Commander Patel's condition remains constant. Santos noted the scientist's hesitation. No one quite knew how to classify Kira's current state of existence. The woman who had piloted humanity's most advanced ship now existed as something between flesh and quantum probability. Her consciousness spread between her transformed body and the Avalon's enhanced systems. The ship itself had changed, its crystalline structure now incorporating alien quantum principles that allowed it to serve as a bridge between conventional spacetime and the higher dimensional mathematics the aliens used for communication. When Kira spoke, Her voice emerged from both her physical form and the ship's quantum field, each word carrying layers of meaning that existed in multiple states simultaneously. The entropy calculations are promising, Kira's quantum-enhanced voice echoed through the observation deck. Her physical form stood nearby, eyes swirling with mathematical equations that danced like aurora borealis. The aliens, the Quantarii, as they call themselves, have already begun implementing the stable space protocols we developed. Santos turned to face his former commander, still adjusting to her new appearance. Quantum equations flickered across her skin like living tattoos, marking her as something more than human but not quite other. "And the cost?" he asked. "Lower than expected." Kira's smile flickered between states of probability. "The energy requirements for maintaining stable space bubbles are high, but by combining our understanding of quantum mechanics with their multidimensional engineering, we've found ways to harvest zero-point energy without destabilizing local space-time." Around Earth, the first signs of this cooperation were already visible to those who knew where to look. Quantum satellites of hybrid design maintained a network of stable space corridors, allowing both species to conduct their research without fear of the encroaching entropy. The Moon had become home to the largest quantum computer ever built, its calculations focused on finding a permanent solution to the universe's accelerated decay. But the greatest changes were happening on a scale invisible to human eyes. In the quantum realm, humanity's consciousness was expanding, guided by the Quantarii's ancient wisdom and driven by human creativity. Children born after the contact were showing signs of natural quantum awareness, their minds instinctively grasping concepts that had once required massive computers to calculate. "The universe is still dying," Kira continued, her voice resonating with quantum harmonics, "but we're no longer just watching it happen. Every day, we understand more. Every moment, we find new possibilities." A holographic display materialized in the center of the observation deck, showing the spread of stable space bubbles throughout nearby star systems. Each point of light represented a pocket of protected space-time, a sanctuary where the normal laws of entropy held steady despite the universe's accelerating decay. "They're calling it the quantum renaissance," Dr. Nakamura added, gesturing to the display. "The biggest leap forward in human understanding since we first looked up at the stars and wondered what they were." Santos watched as Kira's quantum field interacted with the hologram, adding layers of information that existed in probabilities rather than certainties. "And you?" he asked her. "Any regrets about your choice?" Kira's physical form shimmed slightly as she considered the question, her consciousness dancing between quantum states. "Regrets are for people who only exist in one state of probability," she said finally. "I exist in many. In some, I died in that battle. In others, I remained fully human. But in this probability, the one we're living, I became what was needed. A bridge, a translator, a proof that different kinds of consciousness can find common ground." Above them, the quantum research station pulsed with new energy as another breakthrough was achieved. Humanity and Quantarii, working together, were rewriting the laws of physics one probability at a time. "Besides," Kira added, her voice carrying hints of both humor and quantum mathematics, "someone had to show the universe that humanity doesn't just face impossible problems, we solve them." As if in response, the Avalon's quantum core pulsed with energy, its crystalline structure singing in frequencies that existed between moments of time. The ship was no longer just a vessel for space exploration. It had become a symbol of what was possible when different species faced the end of everything and chose to find another way.